pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, well, welcome everybody. Hope you're all surviving the snowstorm. It was pretty bad, even though it wasn't as bad as they had threatened that it might be. So, again, hope all are safe. Let's start. We have two of our new members that couldn't make it last month, so we have to get you sworn in. I'll hand it over to you, Ken.
Okay, great. So if you guys just want to raise your right hand, and I'm going to read through the oath, and then at the end, if you can just say, I do. If you agree to it, you will be officially sworn in.
So that's Chelsea and Larry, right?
Yep, Chelsea and Larry. All right. Do you solemnly swear that you will, as a member of the Board of Trustees of the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority, support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, that you will honestly, faithfully, and impartially perform the duties of your office, that you will not be personally interested, directly or indirectly, in any contract let by SORTA, that you will not violate or knowingly permit to be violated any of the statutes of this state covering the operation of a transit authority, and that you will perform the duties of your office to the best of your ability, so help you God.
I do.
All right, well, welcome aboard. We're certainly excited to have you all. Maybe, Larry, you could just take a moment and introduce yourself to the board.
Larry Towson. I'm currently president of the Labor's Union Local 265 here in Cincinnati. I'm originally from Arkansas. I've been 43 member here at the local. I actually started working doing construction on the railroad. Started doing a little extra building highway, and through the course of my work, and got a offer to run the apprenticeship program in the Labor's Union. From that, I became an organizer, and then became a business agent. So that's what my duties are now as field rep and president of the Labor's Union. I'm also a graduate of HBCU, the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Okay. Welcome aboard. Anyone said hello? That's when everyone was supposed to say hello. They did. They're all on mute. I apologize for that.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you.
Chelsea, are you on?
Yes, I'm here. I apologize. Hello. Hello. I am a city councilwoman for the city of Forest Park. I also serve as a vice chair of the Economic Development Commission for our city, and I chair public safety. I'm a proud graduate of Miami University, Oxford. I'm Red Hawk, a business major, and then later on extended my studies at Notre Dame Mendoza College of Business and Economics and Business. I sit on this board, of course, and do a lot of community engagement work. I also own my own business. I have a company called the STEM Lab. We're located in Blue Ash, and we provide STEM educational opportunities for students kindergarten through 8th grade.
Welcome aboard. We're certainly excited to have you and Larry both on, and all the new members. We're I think we're on for the 22nd, right? The onboarding for the new members. Is that right, Chanel?
Yes, that is correct. It should be on everyone's calendar. If not, we've been having some email issues. I will put it on Board Billgate, so everyone has it. But it should be on everyone's calendar.
Right, so that's both a nice opportunity for all of us to get re-educated and for the new folks to kind of get the basics of running a transportation system. And just as a brief Re-Vetting Metro note, replacing the email system is my number one priority for Metro. we have no hearings from citizens. I hope we can get back into getting more comments. This is our first evening virtual meeting, so hopefully that will provide more opportunities for folks to participate, and we'll remind everybody how to post to the web so we can get those comments. There are some things I'm hoping as we get deeper into reinventing Metro and into this infrastructure fund and things like that, that I imagine we will get some more comments. Daryl, I don't know if this is a good time to talk about what we've heard so far from the reinventing Metro sessions, or do you want to do that during your Metro on the Move?
We can do that. We did that in the planning and ops meeting. We had a whole presentation. We'd be happy to do it again, though.
Well, I missed it. If everybody else has gotten it, but maybe give us the highlights real quick.
All right, Brandy, do you want to do that?
No, I don't know if we need the full presentation.
Okay, we've had a dozen meetings, and we've had about 2,000 people in those dozen meetings. Actually, either beyond the meetings, we've been really happy. There's been about 20 people on each of the meetings live. We've had some groups get together and have conversation. We've put it on both the Facebook and our YouTube channel. We've had a ton of comments come back. Most of them have been very, very, very positive. The community is really excited about us actually putting out the new service. We're starting with a 24-hour service and some increased frequencies. It's been extremely positive.
That's great. And we're certainly excited, and glad people are excited, and hopefully we can keep moving fast to get the new plan out there. So thank you for that. Any questions for Daryl? Most of you probably heard it at the planning and ops meeting. Apologize. Okay. The first action item: approval of board minutes from January 19th meeting. The minutes were in your board books. Hopefully, you've had a chance to review. I would accept the motion to approve. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minute?
So moved. Second.
Motion properly moved and seconded. Any questions? Chanel, voice or?
Yes, this is a voice.
Right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Minutes approved. Let's review the committee meetings. Heidi?
Hey everyone. The Finance Committee met last Tuesday and meeting. Not a lot of big or new exciting things going on, which is good in the finance world, I think. We went through the hedging report for the fourth quarter of last year, reviewed the financial reports, as well as the investment of funds report. So pretty straightforward, standard things. And we have one item on the consent agenda for you all tonight, which is an appointment to the Ohio Transit Risk Pool Board of Trustees. And I am blanking on who that is. I'm trying to find it in my notes. Michelle, can you help me out?
Sure, it's TJ Thorne. He is taking over the risk area. He's our chief security and safety officer. So he is also taking on the risk department. And so we're asking to add him as an alternate.
Yes. So TJ is going to take on that appointment as an alternate. And that is all we've got for you. Michelle, would you add anything?
I think what you said is perfect. It's pretty straightforward.
All right, but we need to make a motion to approve it right here at the board.
Yes. So I can go ahead and do that. I will make a motion to approve the appointment of TJ Thorne to the Ohio Transit Risk Pool Board of Trustees.
Anybody want to second that? Good. All right, motion properly moved and seconded. Approve the consent agenda. Any questions? Chanel?
Roll call. Ms. Burdon?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Ms. Black,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yeah.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge,
Yes.
Mr. Harris, Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffmeister,
Yes.
Mr. Cassie,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Right. So passed. And I guess we talked about it there, right? That the fuel prices are going back up, so the hedging programs will turn beneficial, I guess, at this time. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And we have started adding additional contracts for the Reinventing Metro services. We're adding that too.
All right. Good. That helps us plan better, and that's great. Thank you, Heidi. Any other comments on finance? No. Brendan, planning and ops.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had 3 items, I believe, on the consent agenda, so we'll take those in one action. One was a lease extension with Sims Township for park and ride, I believe, right? Seeing nod, yes. Second is approval of a contract for some brake kits. The organization looking to save some money and do things a little differently with how we do brake kits and replacement parts. And then the third, hey Donna, the authorization to purchase the Glenway Crossing Transit Center, which is going to be a huge hub for us as we expand Reinventing Metro. A big part of the plan. This was not an easy lift, but Donna got it done, and so this will improve our ability to purchase that going forward. So those are the 3 consent items, and we just need a motion and a second to deal with that.
I'll move.
Second. Consent agenda properly moved and seconded. Any questions?
Yeah, just one question. On the, I like the way you break out the bid packages. Were there any minority vendors?
On the brake kits? Yes. Right.
Yes.
Right. 54% of the spend, I believe.
Right. I wanted that noted.
Yeah, I think this was actually a great way to include DBE in it.
Right. I like the way you did that, so thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Janelle?
Mr. Thompson,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Cassie, Mr. Hoffmeister,
Yes.
Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Black,
Yes.
and Ms. Burnham.
Did you have enough?
I think Allison might be frozen.
Oh, I said yes. Did it not? Did I?
I'll have your guess now. Thank you.
I'm just quiet.
All right, is that every? I think that's all for that. We had one action item that we did not put on the consent agenda because this is a pretty big, important item. When the Reinventing Metro plan was put before voters as part of the process to get consensus, a big piece of it was thinking about how do we simplify a fare structure for everybody in the county. In the previous for as long as I can remember, we have had a fare system that is incredibly complex, was difficult for board members, to say nothing of how difficult it was for writers. If you got on at one stop in North College Hill versus a different stop in College Hill, it would cost you a completely different amount of money. And so part of this, as we become a county-wide system with a growing it's to have the objective is to have a fare that is the same. This was something that was discussed with the community at large over the last year, developed with many of our partners, with the Better Bus Coalition, with others. SORTA for new board members, anytime that we change fares or touch fares, we go through the process. It's a fare change equity analysis. It's required by the federal government. We do it really well, thanks to the team at SORTA, who knows how to go out and get lots of feedback from our writers and from the community. And so Ted went through a pretty lengthy, complicated fare equity analysis, fare change equity analysis report at the beginning meeting. He's going to highlight what's in there today, I believe, and then we're going to vote on it.
Thanks, Brendan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. My microphone keeps saying it's going mute, so I'll assume it's incorrect. All right, so, and I'll throw here an echo here. Yeah, SORTA's proposing a significant fare change. I gotta hang on one second. Turn my speakers off. Okay, that's better. Proposing a significant fare change, and with any fare change, FTA requires a Title VI fare change equity analysis. So I'm going to do a presentation on that. There'll be a brief introduction. I'll describe the fare simplification proposal, the fare equity analysis requirements. And I'm also getting a weird thing on my screen here. The public engagement that's required, the equity analysis methodology and the results, and then a brief summary. So next slide, please. All right, in May 2020, Hamilton County voters approved a countywide sales tax to provide new local funding for SORTA. Following that, in September 2020, Metro staff recommended a proposal to simplify Metro's bus fares that includes a single base fare for all Hamilton County local bus service. The Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 requires transit authorities to do a fare equity analysis on any proposed fare change. So we've done that here. Actually, it was done under contract to Metro by SRF Consulting out of Minneapolis. The FTA requirements require that the board both approves the fare change and the fare change equity analysis. If approved, the fare change will become effective Sunday, April 4th, 2021. Next slide, please. All right, this is the main points of the fare simplification. Point one is that instead of having 6 zones, we'll go to 3 basic fares, 1 fare, $2 for all Hamilton County local service. That's the vast majority of service operated by Metro. We'll have a $2 fare. We'll be a $2.65 fare for the express service that operates in Hamilton County. And for the 3 routes that operate out to Butler, Warren, and Claremont counties, will be a suburban county express fare of $3.75. Listen, we were proposing a Hamilton County express fare, but we're going to reclassify 9 of our 19 current express routes to local service. These are routes that primarily, while they do have express portions, they primarily operate on local streets. So they would be reclassified and then they would have the $2 fare. Another key point is that we're going to eliminate the transfer charge. Transfers currently cost 50 cents. On the proposal, transfers will be free, so you aren't penalized because you don't have the direct route to go where you want to go. But transfers would all be electronic. They would be available on the smartphone app. They'd be automatically included in any single ride purchased on the smartphone app.
and they would be included automatically on a new 5-ride ticket for Hamilton County local service that would be sold. And then point 4 here is that currently we have 32 fare combinations. Under the fare simplification plan, they will be reduced to 8. And those 8 come from the 3 that you see there in point 1. Plus, we'll still keep the 50-cent fare for the riverfront transit, riverfront parking shuttle. And each of those has a half fare option for folks eligible for half fares. So that brings the 4 basic fare levels up to a total of 8 fare combinations. Next slide, please. All right, so we're going to go over, and hopefully fairly briefly, some of the key points of the fare changes. The current base fare for Metro is $1.75. That's the Zone 1 fare. That fare will change to $2. The base fare in Zone 2 of Hamilton County right now is $2.65. Because we're going to a single fare for all local service, that fare will also become $2. The Hamilton County Express services, currently they're zone-based. They operate in Zone 1 and Zone 2. What you pay depends on where you get on the bus, where you get off the bus. Those services will be Hamilton County Express services will have a single fare of $2.65. We currently have a separate fare for Harrison. All of our service to Harrison, which is in Hamilton County, is express service. So that fare will be changed from the current $3 to the $2.65 Hamilton County Express fare. We have 3 separate fares for our service that goes to Butler, Claremont, and Warren counties. You can see those fares there. They will all be a single fare. That'll be the Suburban County Express fare of $3.75. Next slide, please. All right, we have a couple special routes with special fares. Route 72 is our summer-only Kings Island reverse commute service. We currently offer a special $2.25 fare on that service. We're going to reclassify this route as a Hamilton County Express route. We're going to add next to the name, and the fare for that will go to $2.65. I mentioned Route 85. That's our riverfront parking shuttle. The fare for that will remain at 50 cents. We offer a half fare option for all of our fare levels. For folks eligible for the half fare, for the Zone 1 fare, it'll go from 85 cents to $1 because it's half the $2. And of course, that half fare will then be in effect for all Hamilton County local service at the $1 rate. We also currently have a special fare for college students with the proper identification. That fare is currently $1. It's going to stay at $1. So that then becomes effectively the college students become part of the half fare program. Access service, we currently offer a $3.50 fare for Zone 1, $4.50 fare for Zone 2. All access service will be the single Hamilton County local. So the fare for that will be $4, which is double the local base fare by FTA rule. But I do want to note that the FTA requirement for the fare equity analysis only applies to fixed route bus service. So the access service is not included in the fare equity analysis, which I'll describe in just a minute. Next slide, please. All right, so this slide shows some of the past prices. Now they're going to change. We currently offer 2 zone passes, 2 day passes, Zone 1 and Zone 2. The Zone 1, $4.50, Zone 2, $6.30. Those are based on double the fare plus 2 50-cent transfers. Currently, we're going to switch that to just being double the base fare. So all the day pass for Zone 1, Zone 2 will come to Hamilton County local day pass of $4. We also offer a day pass in conjunction with tank. The price of that day pass will stay the same at $5. We offer currently 6 different 30-day passes plus a monthly sticker for a fair deal. That's going down to 3 30-day passes. The Hamilton County local price will go from $70 to $80, but if you're currently in Zone 2, that price will actually go from $106 to $80. The Hamilton Express 30-day pass will be $106. Sort of comparable to $120 of the Harrison Pass currently. And next slide, please. Then you see the Suburban County passes, currently 3 different pass price levels, $140, $150, $170. All those will be a single Suburban County Express 30-day pass, $150. The 30-day Metro Tank Pass price will remain the same, the same at $105. And the Fair Deal Monthly Sticker, which is a monthly pass that's good for rides in all zones, so it actually is comparable to what will be the $150 pass. That price will go from $38.50 to $40. And the last item here is the new 5-ride ticket for Hamilton County Local Service will be offered. It's offered at $10. That will include the free electronic transfer option. So next slide, please. I did mention that 9 of our current express routes will be reclassified as local commuter service. This slide lists those 9 routes. Again, these are routes which they offer some express portion, but usually it's a very short express portion and generally not on one of our interstates. So these will be reclassified to local service with a $2 fare for all riders. Next slide, please. All right, so that's it for the brief summary of the fare change proposal. We are required to do a fare change equity analysis. The components of that are it must use the fare change policy of the local transit authority. We do have one we submitted every 3 years to the federal government. The purpose of the analysis is to determine if there are disparate impacts or disproportionate burdens of the fare change on minority or low-income populations. It must include public engagement. The analysis must be based on an onboard survey. It can't use census demographic information. And as I said before, it must receive government body approval, or governing body, excuse me. The next slide. All right, as I said, all fare changes are required under the title, are required to fare change equity analysis under the Title VI requirement. SORTA has to identify the threshold for disparate impact, disproportionate burden policy. The third line here states what SORTA's policy is, and it's that a disparate impact or disproportionate burden occurs when the percentage change of a minority or low-income fare category is 25% greater than the average percentage change of all fare categories, which is also the same if it's 25% greater than the average fare change. So that's the threshold applied in the equity analysis. Next slide, please. First, get into the public engagement that's required as part of this. We did a online survey, and we also did a public meeting. Public meeting was November 18th of last year. We got 69 total public responses. 65 of them came from the online survey. A brief summary of the 44 comments that were in those 65 responses. 12 of those were people requesting we don't increase the fares. 4 were suggestions for further discounting of fares. We had 10 suggestions for improving some aspect of customer convenience. 10 of the comments were compliments about the proposed fare change, and then 8 of them were just general comments that really weren't related to the fare change itself. Next slide, please. So one of the questions was asking people what their overall impression of the proposed fare change was. You see the green bar shows about 50% of the respondents said they thought that the fare change would make riding the bus easier for them. And then over to the right, the yellow or goldish bar shows about 17% of the respondents said they thought that the fare change would make riding the bus a little bit more difficult for them. Next slide, please. So this is a fairly complex slide. We asked people to rate 11 different aspects of the proposed fare change. Asked them to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 is represented in the orange color, which just means people said they completely support that aspect of the fare change. And over there on the left, the green means people did not like it at all. As you can see, for the most part, we got pretty much overwhelming positive support for these 11 aspects of the fare change. The one that was the least is the third one down, and that's the $2.65 fare for the express service. And similarly, the $3.75 fare for the Suburban County Express service got a little bit more lukewarm support than the other proposed changes. It's possible that people really wanted to see a single fare, and were maybe a little disappointed that we still have extra fares for the express services. But overall, generally a fairly positive response. This is for the 2020 online survey we did. Next slide, please. All right. Now, for the actual Title VI equity analysis, we have to do a more comprehensive passenger survey. We did a comprehensive passenger survey, onboard survey in 2018. It was actually done preparing for a previous proposed fare change, which was not implemented. So we're still using that data. This slide shows that there were a little over 4,700 responses. Not all of those responses were complete enough to be included in this analysis, because you needed to know people's income level and things like that, and not everybody responds to those questions. But you can see in terms of the minority rider percentage, the low-income rider percentage, removing the incomplete survey responses did not change the percentage of minority or low-income riders. So we have a valid survey to use for this analysis. Next slide, please. The analysis of four-step analysis listed here. We determined the number of proportion of riders in each of our 32 unique fare combinations, and also the 11 different passes we offer. We then calculate the fare change for each of those fare category and for each demographic group. You compare those changes to the overall changes, the average changes, and then determine if any of those changes meet the threshold for a disparate impact or disproportionate burden. So that's the four-step equity analysis. Next slide, please. Okay, step one, and we do analyze all 43 of our unique fare combinations. Only those fare combinations which represent at least 1% of the total ridership are actually used for the equity analysis. In our case, 13 of our 43 unique combinations do represent at least 1% of the ridership, and those are the categories that we'll use for the remainder of the analysis. Next slide, please. This slide lists those 13 fare combinations, fare categories that are used by at least 1% of our riders. I first want to point you out the bottom of the slide, that these 13 fare categories represent 95% of our minority riders, 96.5% of our low-income riders, and a little under 94% of our total riders. So these 13 fare categories clearly represent the vast majority of our ridership. And while we're on this slide, I want to point out the third row. That's the Zone 1 Cash Plus transfer. You see the percentage of minority, low-income, and total riders. This is the one that has the most variation of minority and low-income riders versus total ridership. As we'll see in the next slide, this then, because of that variation, is singled out for further investigation. The next slide, please. So the concern is that any of our fare combinations are disproportionately used by minority or low-income users. And of the 13 categories that represent at least 1% of our riders, this is the only category that actually does represent a category that's disproportionately used by, in this case, it's low income. You can see here that this category is used by 19.9% of total riders, and the low income ridership percentage is 3.5% greater than that. We use the 2.5 percentage point range because that's the statistical accuracy of the survey. So since the low income is more than 2.5%, this fare category does stand out as one disproportionately used by low income riders. However, in our case, this category is going to have a 25-cent fare reduction. The fare will go down from $2.25 to $2. So unless that is actually still represents a 25% increase over the average, this will not be a finding of a disproportionate burden on this fare category. So next slide, please. So then we go ahead and calculate the averages. You see the left column is the average fare change for all riders, and that's going from $1.97 to $1.92. So we're actually having a 5-cent increase, there's a 5-cent decrease in the average fare for all riders. That's a 2.66% reduction. For minority riders, it's actually an 8-cent reduction from $1.97 to $1.89, a 3.8% reduction. And for low-income riders, it's a 7-cent reduction or a 3.64% reduction. And then the second row from the bottom shows how the percentage compares to the percentage change for all riders. And these are lower, so clearly they're not more than 25% greater than the average change for all riders. So next slide. All right, so one of the other aspects of the fare change is our change in our transfers. The good news is we're reducing the charge from 50 cents to free. We were concerned whether having one of the main ways to get the transfer, this electronic transfer, will be using the smartphone. Fortunately, we did survey in 2018 smartphone ownership among our riders. You can see the percentages here. A little less than 82% of all riders had a smartphone. Minority riders, that percentage was actually greater, 83.7. Was a little lower for low income at 80.6. But neither of those exceed the 25% range. So from a Title VI standpoint, that's good. As Donna mentioned earlier, we are including the 5-ride ticket, which has free transfers on it. So we are still offering the free transfer option to folks who don't have the smartphone or aren't able to get it through smartphone. And of course, if you use a pass, the transfers are automatically included. So, next slide, please. All right. So step 4 is if there is a disparate impact or disproportionate burden finding, we're tasked with attempting to minimize or mitigate that. In our case, we do not have any findings of disparate impact or disproportionate burden, so we really don't have to do step 4 in this case. The next slide. All right, so as we've seen, of the 13 fare types that had at least 1% or more riders, only one of those met the threshold for being a disproportionately utilized by low-income riders. However, that fare category is getting an 11% decrease in fare versus the overall decrease of 2.7%. So there's not a disproportionate burden on that fare category. And this also that the average fare is lower for both low-income and minority riders as well. So next slide, please. So the conclusion is, based on this Title VI fare analysis, there's no disparate impact on minority populations and no disproportionate burden on low-income populations. And that was a long presentation. I tried to go through it fairly quickly, but I'm now ready for any questions you might have.
Not long at all. Actually, that was great. Ted, thank you for going through that in such detail. Just a reminder to everyone, we don't do that often, but when we do it well, and it is important. Making sure we get this right is really critical. I just will say, I'm so excited to see this. I'm so excited to have this become a simplified fare. Just riding around the county for $2 is going to be great. It's going to be an easy thing for Brandy and team to message. So it's really an exciting new step for us, and it's one of the big things of implementing Reinventing Metro. So I don't think we need to do anything else, but I will make a motion to approve this action item.
Okay. Okay, properly moved and seconded. Any question?
I do have one question, just to be an annoyance.
You beat me to it, Rod.
So the title here is Fare Simplification. That didn't seem simple to me. It seems like there's 1,800 categories.
So if you'd seen our previous fare structure, you'd understand this is really simple. So if you're on a local route, it's $2. If you're on an express route inside Hamilton County, it's $2.65. If you're on an express route outside of Hamilton County, it's $3.75 versus the 6 separate zones that we had previously. This is much simpler than what we had.
Do people have this all in one place somewhere?
They will have it all in one place. It'll be on all the schedules. It'll be everywhere. Previously, we had an inside City of Cincinnati price. We had an outside City of Cincinnati and Hamilton County price. We had a separate Harrison price. We had a separate express route price. We had a separate Butler price, a separate Warren price, a separate Claremont price. Now we only have three.
Okay.
I think, Ron, it looked complicated because we had to review all the old fare structures to prove that they weren't bad to get to the new ones. And so it's simple. I have one question, and first I want to make one comment. Ted, great to hear your voice. We've been missing you. Thank you for participating and helping us get through this. If I pay cash today and I normally transfer, I'm actually going to pay more in this scenario.
In zone one, if you don't use a day pass. So if you are traveling in zone one today and you get a transfer, the transfer is 50 cents. In fare simplification, you can get a day pass for a round trip for $4, which is the price of 2 trips, or you can use your app and pay $2 and get a free transfer, and then you're only paying $2, not with the transfer being 50 cents. Today it's $2.25. It will only be $2 if you utilize the free transfer through either the app or the 5-ride ticket.
Right, so I just want to be clear. So we're encouraging folks to use the passes and those kind of things.
Yes.
Will ultimately be a better deal for them. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
So, Daryl, this is Maurice. My question was similar. Even though we don't reach that threshold of 25%, that for that section of people impacted, what's the messaging out to the seniors and so forth who may not have smartphones and such? Is it that still that paper ticket, or they will be something like that? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yes, they can purchase a 5-ride ticket, and the 5-ride ticket would be $2 for inside Hamilton County, the local routes. It'll be $2, and there will be a free transfer embedded in that ride ticket.
Okay. Now, is that something they're presented with when they get on the bus, or they just know? I guess there will be message on physical schedules and so forth and so on.
It will be everywhere. It'll be on our website. We'll do a huge marketing campaign because this is a big change for the community. This will simplify. So when you're getting on a bus, every bus will be $2 unless it's an express route or unless it's coming from outside of Hamilton County. This will be extremely simple for people. We'll have to get the message out, so there'll be a huge marketing campaign to make sure everyone understands the change. That's one of the reasons why we're not starting it until April, and give us time to get that message out to the community.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that messaging is trying to get away from cash, which is difficult to handle and causes other problems. And we also know that many people today, if they have the $1.75, they put in $2 bills and don't get the 25-cent back anyway. Right? So This will be good for everybody, but there is some marketing we have to do around it. Okay. Any other questions? I did mine. All right. Properly moved and seconded. Janelle?
Ms. Verdon,
Yes.
Ms. Black,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge,
Yes.
Mr. Harris, Mr. Hinton,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffmeister,
Yes.
Mr. C,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
and Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
All right, great. Any more exciting reports from the planning and ops, Brendan?
No, I'm giving Ted grief, but he did a great job with this process. That an easy thing to do. The only thing missing from it was an abacus, but he did a very good job with it, and I'm really glad that we get to roll this out. So thank you, Ted.
Absolutely. I reinforce that message. Okay. I guess I can do the brief labor committee update. We know that the contract with the HU ended at the end of last year. We're negotiating, administration and HU working through some of the details. There's no final contract to report, but we are progressing, and I guess we'll continue to keep the board updated as we get to new stages of that discussion. Is that a fair representation, Darryl?
That's very fair. We're at the table again 2 days this week.
Hey, Craig, I had a question not pertaining to the contract, but what is being presented to the operators for COVID vaccinations? I know CPS. Did they include them? Some of the operators in on that. How is that working out?
You know, I'm going to get one to you.
John, you can go ahead and respond.
Thank you. Yes, we did have a very last opportunity to be a part of the CPS vaccinations through CPS and the City Health Department. We learned of the opportunity. We were able to exchange a secure hotline and web link for operators to sign up. Those vaccinations were to happen over the weekend, so we're waiting on reports to see exactly how many operators took part. It was a first opportunity, a very limited opportunity, but we'll continue to be in discussions for others, for sure.
So that opportunity was for operators that drove extra service routes. We are working with the health department to do everything we can to get us up to the as high on the list as we can to work through getting the rest of the transit agency vaccinated. So we have multiple times a week conversations with the health department about how soon we can get included in the vaccinations. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Yeah, obviously critical to get our front line workers taken care of there, right? Okay. Michelle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Behind tab 9, you will find the financial reports for the month ending January 31st, 2021. Total revenue of $9.5 million was unfavorable to budget by $666,000, or 6.5%. Total expenses of $8.4 million was favorable to budget by $1,805,000, or 17.7%. Operating surplus before adjustments was $1,139,000 for the month. Estimated $7,476,000 from the sales tax revenue was reported for the month. Capital revenue was recorded to offset the operating surplus in order to build our capital reserves. Some of the most significant factors driving the results for the month: fare revenue was unfavorable to budget by $25,000, or 3.5%. Metro fare revenue was unfavorable to budget by $14,000 as a result of fixed route regular ridership that was unfavorable to budget by 4.3%. CPS contract revenue was unfavorable to budget by $636,000, or 80%, due to CPS's decision to return to 100% virtual learning starting November 3rd, partially offset by CPS's past revenue for the month. CPS service is set to begin this week with a hybrid of an in-classroom learning schedule Tuesday through Friday and virtual Mondays. Non-transportation revenue was favorable to budget by $38,000, or 61%, due to rail billboard advertising. Wages and benefits were favorable $813,000, or 11%, due to lower operator wages from CPS not being in service and higher open positions than anticipated for January. Parts and supplies was favorable by $160,000, or 25%, primarily due to revenue vehicle parts of $40,000, building maintenance parts of $36,000, and printing material of $22,000. Fuel and lubricants was also favorable by $98,000, or 24%, as a result of lower miles driven due to CPS returning to 100% virtual learning. And the other category was favorable by $681,000, or 44%, primarily due to result of outsourced services being lower than budget by $220,000, third-party maintenance costs lower at $230,000, and training, travel, and meetings of $64,000, all being favorable to budget. Some of those are some timing issues, so we'll see some of those reversed under the other category in future months. And that is the report for January 2021. Any questions?
I'll ask one just kind of clarifying question. So obviously we changed the budget for the ridership based on the pandemic situation, but we're still, this kind of understates the drop in ridership from the beginning of the pandemic, right?
Correct.
So we're down still about, what did you say? Not to put you on the spot.
1 month does not a trend make, but fixed route was 4% for the month.
Versus budget.
Yeah.
Budget.
We're still down to pre-COVID about 50%.
Right, that's what I was asking.
Yes, yeah, we're still down to pre-COVID to about 50% of where we were.
Okay. And obviously some of this will come back a little bit as we potentially conclude the union contract, correct?
And some of it will also come back as CPS goes back into service, even blended service. We'll get some of that CPS ridership back as well.
Any other questions? I guess this is broadly good news, right, guys? So thank you. All right, Helen's going to talk a little bit about the process around the infrastructure funding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everybody, and welcome new board members. I think this is a long-awaited presentation and topic to be discussed, which is really very interesting, and people are very excited about this. Next slide, please. So about a year and a half ago, actually many of you were on that board, and you approved the ballot language, which read, SORTA proposes to levy a sales and use tax in the amount of 0.8% for a period of 25 years. 25% of the proceeds of the levy shall be used for public infrastructure projects like building or maintaining roads or bridges. And really the purpose of the issue 7 was twofold. One is to improve the transit system overall, the efficiencies, the frequencies, span of service, and so on, but also improve the roads and bridges by using that 25% of the sales tax to be collected. And next slide, please. And as we all know, last May, finally, the levy passed, and it was time to start putting the program together so we can manage the funds and distributing the grant money and so on. Probably most of you are aware that Hamilton County has District 2, what we call District 2 Integrating Committee, which was established by House Bill 704 in 1987. And so for the past 30-some years, about 34 years, they've been doing they have a program that's very similar to what we're trying to establish here. Is every year they distribute about $10 million in grant money to various roadway projects across the county. And the Integrating Committee has been doing a fantastic job with that. It's a very successful program and very efficient as well. So really, there was no point of trying to reinvent the wheel. So we turned to the Integrating Committee. We worked with the staff, especially Eric Beck, the county engineer, and Fred Schlem, who's the liaison for the Integrating Committee. So we worked with them just to learn about what they're doing, how they do the program, and we literally kind of mirrored what they've been doing for almost 34 years. So for our program, we're following a very similar process as the Integrating Committee. We adapted pretty much most of the evaluation criteria that they've been using for their program, and as well as in terms of the matching funds, and so on. And I'm not going to go into the details of that, but I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if you have regarding these specifics. So go back, please. The major deviation from the Integrating Committee in our program is that our program, based on the levy that passed, is it has a transit component. So funds can go to roadway projects only where either buses run or those roads that are within 3/4 mile of the bus route. So that's the only, kind of deviation, that major deviation we have from the integrated committee. The process for the fund itself program is very straightforward. And in a nutshell, we're going to make a call for projects where municipalities and cities, townships within Hamilton County, including the county itself and SORTA, can apply for. We'll receive these proposals. We'll have a committee of professionals who will evaluate these projects, will score them, and then rank them. The recommended list will come to you as a SORTA board for your review, and then it will go to the integrating committee for final approval. Next slide, please. So that was the process in a nutshell. So next steps, there are still, minor tweaks to the document, and I really have to. I'm going to put you on the spot, Craig and Daryl. But Craig, we couldn't have done it without all your edits and reviewing the document and so on. So much appreciated. Same thing with Daryl, also spearheading this effort, because it is a major thing for us. So thank you really both. So there are just a couple minor tweaks for the document that we should be finalizing in the next few days, and expect within a week or so to receive a copy of that final draft for your review. Copies will also be sent to the county, cities, and municipalities. The county engineer has already seen a draft, because we've been working with them on that, as well as the city, John Brazina, and we've gotten some feedback from them as well. But we'll still, send them a final draft for their for the comments. We'll also post a copy on our website for public input. Then you, as a board, you'll have the chance to discuss the document during the next Planning and Operations Committee meeting on March 9, and then you will vote on that the following week, Tuesday, March 16. Once the program is approved by you, we will do two things. One is we're going to put out a call for projects April 1st, and also we'll issue an RFP for an engineering firm to assist in scoring the projects. Understanding that this is really the first year we're managing this program, and just to get the staff up to speed and so on. So it may make sense, and the decision is certainly yours if you want to go that route. It would make maybe some sense to reach out to a engineering firm to assist in the first round of evaluations of the projects and so on. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Maybe I can put some color into it too. Thanks, Aled. That was great. A couple things. One is, again, we've started with the documents that are used by the integrating in the process used by the integrating committee today, with some slight tweaks, with discussions with the county, the city, the integrating committee themselves, taking out things that aren't relevant from the state programs and such, and had a wide variety of folks look at it. But I wanted to make sure that everyone on the board had a chance to look at it too. So you'll get it in the next couple of days and have, essentially 3 weeks to look at it before discussion at the committee meetings on March 9th. I think we'll probably have a separate committee meeting so it doesn't dominate the complete planning and operations. But I think it's a long document because there's a lot to this. So I appreciate your patience with that, and look forward to good discussion around it in a few weeks. That was not meant to cut off the conversation.
That document is going to explain to us the call for projects and how that's going to work.
So it'll go through the process of how to call projects, who has what role in the process, how projects are scored, funded, etc. certainly after receiving the document, if before that, feel free to send questions or comments in, so we can get them organized for the meeting on the 9th.
If I may interject, I can't, for some reason, the connection, I lost the last 2 minutes. So I switched my Wi-Fi to the hotspot. Was there a question for me there?
No, you're good, Alex.
That was the part where we all gave you a standing ovation and said thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So broadly, right, the process is to, it's a joint effort with the Innovating Committee. They asked us to establish the process rather than creating the process, but they have to say they have all the final approvals for the projects as they go forward. So we're looking forward to getting this started now that we started collecting the money. Okay, thanks, Aled. Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you. I have just a couple of things. Last week was Ohio Love Transit Week, and nearly 70 public transit systems in Ohio highlighted the impact transit has had on economic vitality of a region and how it moves communities. A special thank you goes out to the Hamilton County Commissioners for proclaiming it Ohio Loves Transit Week in Hamilton County. So we want to thank them for that. The Reinventing Metro presentations, I talked a little bit about that earlier today. We had our virtual meetings, a lot of really, really good comments. The community is really excited about it. And on February 1st, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention issued a mandate. It is now a federal law that all passengers ages 2 and older must wear a mask on transit buses when boarding, riding, exiting, and waiting for the bus and transit agency. And we will be enforcing that as we move forward. That concludes my report, unless you all have any questions for me.
So I know it's
What's the recourse if someone comes on a bus without a mask?
They will be removed from the bus. We currently ask them to leave the bus. We currently have masks, a mask dispenser with masks on our buses, as well as hand sanitizer. It is now a federal law. You cannot ride a bus unless you are wearing a mask, getting on the bus, your entire ride on the bus, and as you exit the bus.
But they had to get something or something like that. That's what your question was?
Just curious, do we find people? Do they get fined, or they just told to get off the bus? That's what I was curious about.
Yeah, they have to get off the bus, or they aren't allowed on the bus if they try to get on the bus without a mask.
Which essentially means the bus won't move forward, right?
That's correct.
So the bus just won't go. But and we bring supervisors in if there's any kind of controversy, right?
And if there's any real controversy, the police also respond.
I say the existing riders on the bus probably respond at that point too if somebody's making a scene and preventing the bus from moving forward.
Yes, and we get it all on video.
The video cameras all over the buses.
So, but it's a great question, and I think it's another one of these things that make we need to really value the operators, because these are not easy things to do, right? It's that's why I'm thrilled we're able to provide masks and things like that too to make it a little easier.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Daryl? I've been glad you're feeling better from your cold last week. Okay, Governance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a 7-hour meeting earlier today where we discussed we met today at 4:50 and for just a few minutes to talk about our chair and vice chair for 2021. Ordinarily, this is something that we do in January, but we wanted to make sure we had some opportunity to get ourselves situated this year, which was a good thing. So I am going to make a motion that our 2021 chair of the board be Craig Cassini, and our 2021 vice chair of the board be Robert Harris. I am really excited to make this nomination. It was unanimous coming out of committee. I want to say to the board, I've been on this board for I think 7 years now. Craig has been the chair for the last several years and has led this group of people so ably through a levy, through a transition, representing us with local governments, onboarding new board members, making sure that everyone has an opportunity to ask questions. There was a moment, I think, at the beginning of where several years ago we got 6 brand new board members in one day. And it was a little bumpy of a start to try and make sure that I see Kathy's nodding, yes, to make sure that everybody got on board. And I want to commend Craig for making sure that we got to a place where we were able to work together and achieve the success that we did last year and to be able to implement Metro. And Robert, who we're excited to nominate as vice chair, is doing his second tenure on the board. I believe, I don't remember the years that Robert was on the board, but when I was first aware of even SORTA, Robert was serving on the board and has long been one of the most visible and connected representatives on the board to our writers. And as we think about what we're going to be doing over the course of the next 12 months, especially talking to writers, rolling out the Reinventing Metro plan in a big way, Robert's connectedness to our writers and connectedness to the community is really a crucial asset for our leadership team. Before I turn it back to you, Mr. Chair, to vote, I also want to say thank you, especially to Ms. Gwen Robinson, who served as vice chair for the last several years as well with Craig. Gwen has been an incredible leader and a friend to me since I joined this organization. She also asks tremendous questions. I'm thrilled that Gwen is staying on this board. There were early meetings, I believe, at the CAA where we figured out what we were going to do with this plan, and that's because Gwen and her team stepped up to make sure that we were asking the right questions and listening to people as we were building out the Reinventing Metro plan. So thank you so much for what you've done in a leadership role in this organization. We love you too so much. So I'll turn it back to you, Craig. That came out of the governance committee unanimously, and excited to present it to the board for a vote.
Thank you. I'm going to assume, Robert, you're willing to be nominated? Excited about it? And I would also like to echo Gwen, thank you so much for all your work as vice chair. And kind of an awkward thing to ask for a vote with my name on it, but I'll make a motion.
Question, please.
Yeah.
Is this a collective motion or is it a separate motion for each position?
I believe it's a collective motion, but Chanel, correct me if I'm...
That is correct, yes. Unless Donna or Kim has any other thoughts.
My only other thought is that you need to ask if there are any other nominations from the floor, and if there are none, you can then close that.
Is that Brendan or myself? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Okay. So I guess properly moved. Need someone to second it? Okay. Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Okay. Now, is this a roll?
Yes. Okay. Ms. Burdon.
Yes.
Ms. Black.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge.
Yes.
Mr. Harris. Mr. Hinton.
No.
Mr. Hoffmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Cassie.
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes.
And Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
The motion has been approved, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you, and thank you. I don't expect this to be a lifetime role, but excited about the work we have to do this year, and that we can all do this together. I know we're working to make sure we have a balance of county and city appointed folks, various roles, and so I appreciate that. We will be starting next month. We've asked Blake Etheridge to take over the planning operations. Blake, you're there, right?
I am.
Are you nodding your head?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Sorry.
And Heidi will stay as finance, and then I know Gwen, you and I have talked about you taking on the human resources capacity with some of the work around DB and such as well in there. So I appreciate you doing that. And then in the short run, it'll be an intermittent committee. I've asked Brendan to help take on some of this process around getting established in the infrastructure space. So appreciate you to do that, Brendan. Otherwise, an exciting year. And like you said, you'll be getting this document, this long 75-page document in the next few days, and look forward to having a great discussion around that. Any other new business?
And I'm not sure new business, Craig, but Daryl, is there any discussion about when we would be coming back together face to face?
It can't be soon enough for me. It will be as soon as the county approves for open meetings again, when we can begin to come back together. Again, like I said, we reach out and we speak to them several times a week, and I can tell you that the staff here is looking forward to having in-person meetings again. As soon as it's possible, we'll start our in-person meetings again.
Daryl, do you all have that much room? We're starting to look like a football team here.
we do have a room big enough to social distance, and as soon as we're able to do that, we do have a room big enough. Yes.
Much larger, Maurice, than the old room, I promise.
Much larger.
I want to know if you're going to bring in those. I want to know if you're going to bring in some heaters that are louder than airplane jet engines, because I'll miss those from our old boardroom meeting. Donna, can you make sure we have those? Just throw that in the middle of
I will find a noisemaker just for you, Brendan.
The microphones that intermittently.
I need the noisemaker, but I'm glad. Thank you, Donna.
Look, at thanks everyone. If there is no other new business, that was a good question, Gwen. I will move to adjourn. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.